I'd like to welcome Sam Cestaro to this month's podcast show. Sam is here to talk to us about the 50th anniversary of the Sioux Greyhounds and the work he's been doing to capture that in a documentary that will be released to coincide with the anniversary. He leverages a lot of media experience, especially from his time working at the Score Sports Network. Sam, welcome to the show from up in Sault Ste. Marie. How you doing?
Guido, I'm great. Congrats on your success, and thanks for having me on your podcast.
It's a special treat. I guess for the audience, Sam, full disclosure, right? I've known you since we were little wees, back in the west end of Sault Ste. Marie. You and I went to the now demolished St. Mary's Elementary School. Then we went to the same high school together, St. Mary's High School. We didn't really hang out too much there. We kind of saw each other in the hallway. And then I think we crossed paths at the University of Windsor a few times,
Yeah, growing up in a smaller city, both coming from Italian families, we did see each other a lot growing up. Life happens.
Yeah.
I followed my path, you followed yours, but I am glad that we did get to reconnect. And boy, would I have loved to see a New York Islanders Montreal Canadiens final last year.
Yeah, I was rooting for that. I was emailing you. I was like, hey, this would be pretty awesome. Yeah, but listen, I'll admit, I was rooting for the Islanders because I thought the Canadians could beat the Islanders. So.
I was rooting for the Canadians because I knew the Islanders could beat the
Canadians. I guess we'll just never know, I guess we'll never know. And now the Habs are off to a bit of a rough start this year, but I don't know. How are the Islanders doing? Are they doing okay?
We're always off to a slow start, but we back-to-back shutouts, so that's a good sign on the road. We've got a very, very tough division, but I think we'll be in the postseason for sure, and then we'll make some noise after that.
You think John Tavares was looking on last year and missing the Islanders just a little bit? Maybe just a little.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
I think Leaf.
He's dead to me.
I think Leaf fans are saying the same thing right now, Sam. Ooh.
You know what? I'm so glad that we got Lamorello. He's such an awesome GM. He's changed the culture there, right? Him and Barry Trotz, and again, good draft picks. Very, very smart with the cap. So, you do need leadership in important roles, and then the rest falls into place. So I'm happy.
You know what? I like Lou, and I like you talked about the culture. I like what Lou does with the off-ice culture too, like how he preps them and the accountability and all those sorts of things just before. It's before the game even starts, And he was doing that here in Toronto, and I don't know, the players didn't quite connect with it, but the Islanders, they've connected with it, and it's been working. So I like that. I like Luke.
Absolutely. And next year, the Islanders will be celebrating their 50th, and I'd love to get your game there in person, once everything hopefully goes back to normal in the world.
Hey, wouldn't it be neat if we go catch the Habs and the Islanders for something like that?
In New York, that'd be wild.
Hey, wild. That'd be pretty cool. Hey, listen. So before I invited you to talk about this documentary project you've got on the go, but before we get to that, I wanted to ask you a question. You spent some time working at the Score Sports Network in Toronto, and that was a few years ago now. But I recently interviewed CBC producer Jess Milton.
Yeah.
And it turns out that you had worked with her there, and we sort of made the world a little bit smaller with that connection because it just came up and Sam, and that sort of thing kind of happened. So I thought that was kind of neat. And but how did you? I always ask this because there's all sorts of people listening to the podcast, and it's not just adults. There's kids, and kids are deciding what they want to do career and life wise. So how did you end up at a TV network like The Score, and what did you do there?
So I did have a communications background and obviously a love for sports. The Score was new at the time, before they were headlining sports.
Right.
So they were looking for staff. I volunteered actually for the first 6 months, and that was basically like a 6-month job interview. I was then hired full time right after that. While most people who applied, stated that they wanted to go to the hockey department or football department, I mentioned that my passion was for soccer and F1, and I was instantly partnered with James Sharman, and the rest was history. We went on to have a great run with a show called Sports World.
Right.
And that was a daily show reporting on international sports. I did do a bit of everything there, though. I produced shows with Greg Sansoni and Adnan Virk, who's such a talent in the U.S. right now. I produced games in every professional league. I produced tons of features. I did voiceover work. And my last few years, I was signed to the WWE. And I got to go to WrestleMania, meet a ton of stars. A lot of fun.
Hey, that's awesome. And so communications background, and you took a chance with some volunteer work, and you sort of, there was probably a few different paths of opportunities, and everybody's probably taken the, hey, yeah, hockey, but you sort of broadened your horizons with sports. And I remember you were always into all sorts of sports. Like you probably had, like, you were a walking encyclopedia when it came to sports. I remember you knew every jersey of every player of every team, not just your favorites. so I can see how this all fit together for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, right? And because the station was new, I wouldn't say anything went, but there was a lot more leeway than there would be in today's standards. If you walk into a professional sports television network today, they're going to hand you a manual of policies and procedures. And we didn't have that. We were like, okay, how quickly and how accurately can we get to air? And that's what we did well.
But it was popular and it worked.
Yeah, right? yeah, absolutely.
It filled a niche that people were wanting, that they were looking for.
Well, and you know what? Around the same time, ProLine came out.
Right.
So people got a taste of, sports gambling and wanted to know instant results. If you lived in the Toronto area, you did have the Fan 590, but in other parts of the province, you didn't, right? So you would have to wait until the next day sometimes to find out if you won. So that's where Headline Sports / The Score, did fill that need.
Yeah, because this is before, online radio streaming. And I remember driving from the Soo to Toronto, and there's a certain part on Highway 69 where the fan starts coming in. Right?
Yeah, I remember those days. For sure.
Right? So, hey, listen, pre-pandemic, you and I connected in Sault Ste. Marie. We hadn't connected in person in a long time, but we went for a coffee together. And that night you started telling me about this project that you were working on called Hound Power. What's that all about? Can you fill us in a little bit?
So ever since I left Toronto and television, I had an itch to still do something creative. I saw that the Sioux Greyhounds were going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary in what's now the OHL. So I thought this would be a perfect chance to tell their story. I began researching and reaching out to some of the players from the 1972 team. And then I went through each decade, picking about 7 or 8 individuals just to tell their stories. So I'm up to about 32 interviews in the can, and I just need 4 or 5. That's it.
Wow. Now, you just didn't, so you said, well, I was looking for something creative, but you've been a Sioux Greyhounds fan for as long as you've been an Islanders fan, I think, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You always cheer for the hometown team, right?
Yeah. And so you say you landed several interviews with the former Greyhound and affiliate, and you say you've got a few more left. But are you still looking really for any player or administrator, coach, or did you have like a target set of folks in mind?
Yeah, no, I kind of did a blueprint of who I wanted to interview and why I thought that. So, like I said, I've got 32 already done and in the can. So I'm down to my Mount Rushmore, really. I'm trying to nail a date down with the great one, Wayne Gretzky, Ron Francis, who's the general manager of the Seattle Kraken. He's a busy guy right now, but may have an opening, in the near future, next month or so.
Good.
The ageless one, Joe Thornton. He's a member of the Panthers. And Adam Foote, who had his Greyhounds jersey raised to the rafters.
That's a good. You're right. It is the Mount Rushmore, right? And
yeah.
Man, Gretzky, sure. He was an Islander killer too, eh? But that's another story.
You know what? He took his licks too. The Islanders, showed him how to win.
I like bugging you about that stuff, eh?
Yeah.
So is there the interviews that you've done so far, and of course you can't count these remaining few, is there one that has stuck out for you so far that you go, yeah, that you really want to listen to that one or anything like that?
Well, I do want to take this time to thank everyone again for being so accommodating during my process. I cold called 32 strangers and pitched them my idea.
Wow.
They were all very happy and proud to tell me their stories. Sherry Basson, who was the architect of the Greyhounds championship teams, he took me out for dinner in Oshawa after our interview. He didn't have to do that. So did Wayne Gruel. I met him down in Fort Erie on a road trip. These individuals were proud of their past accomplishments and friendships that they made along the way. I also had the opportunity to interview Walter Gretzky before he passed. He was very generous with his time and told me some great stories that I hope the fans will enjoy.
That's going to be one to look forward to, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny sometimes. Like we think of these folks as a bunch of guys just lacing up the skates and being on the ice, but sometimes off the ice, they really extend their personality and their kindness, right? We get to see a different side of them when they're not battling for the puck against the wall and whatnot. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear, eh, Sam?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know what? A lot of these guys, they'd have a beer with you. I heard so many great stories that I can't put in the documentary. But they were just happy that someone was going to be the historian of this era, and I was happy to do it.
Now, have you connected with the Greyhounds themselves? Like they're with their celebration of the 50th. You've done that.
Yep, I've interviewed the president and owner Tim Kenda. He's a great leader within the organization, and he was really happy to see that all that I accomplished. I interviewed a couple other guys, past ownership, and they said the same thing.
Awesome.
All I have to do now is hunker down all winter and put B-roll on top of the clips that I end up picking.
So is this going to be will it be an online video? Will it be what's the release on this? Like, what will be the media for it?
So I am going to be entering it in film festivals in Northern Ontario. There's a few that I have my eye on, and I think that this will fit in perfectly, because it's not just about hockey. It's about meeting at a central location in the dead of winter in the northern community. People checking on their neighbors and not just talking about hockey, but life in general, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So I will also be, pitching this to some of the sports networks, and there will be a physical product of this that season ticket holders may be able to purchase early. But again, I don't have the exact date that it will be complete. So
yeah, you still got a few things to go. I get that, but this is really exciting. Like that's awesome. I'm looking forward to the final product and seeing it out there, and especially in the film festival. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I was on the site. It's Hound Power 50, so that's houndpower50.com.
Yep.
And so I was kind of looking around and kind of getting a feel for things. And you have a link to a song called Hound Power, and it's by Julie Farkas.
That's right.
All these years, I didn't. You're gonna be like, Guido, seriously? You're from the Sioux. I didn't know who the original singer of the song was. And then when I was like, no way, Julie Farkas. I'm like, do you have any info on Julie Farkas, or how did the song come to be? Like all these years, I've been humming that song.
Well, same with me, right? And so Julie, along with her husband George, wrote, played, and sang the original song that was released back in 1980. I managed to get a copy of the 45. And here's a trivia question for you. What song was on the B-side?
Oh, man.
You won't get it. It's a little bit more obscure than Hound Power. It was called Coming Home. Another really good tune.
Coming Home.
Yeah.
And that's by Julie as well?
That's right, yes. Huh. So I had the opportunity to interview George. He told me about the process and that he played bass on the tune, and he engineered the whole thing. Like you said, very catchy, an instant hit locally. Unfortunately, Julie, his wife, did pass away in 2016.
That's sad to hear. But she left a gift. She left a gift for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people still do sing it. Now, there were reports out there that, an updated version could come out at some point in time. So,
I don't know if I'm ready for that, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to see with different teams, Sting and Storm and
see?
Attack.
No, but listen, if people want to hear it, they go to your website. It's on the website, and you can listen to it. I'm telling you, if anybody listening hasn't heard this, even if you're not a Sioux Greyhounds fan, you got to listen to this song on houndpower50.com. It's called Hound Power. It's a really, really, really cool tune. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Typical 80s music, very, very power driven.
I don't know. I still, maybe I'm just showing my age. I think it's still relevant. So.
Hey, I hear you. And like you said, people do still sing it. They might not know every verse anymore, but, they know the good stuff. So,
listen, you're doing this. You made this website. It's obvious that you've poured a lot of time and resources, and there's a lot of planning, and you're a sports fan, but why'd you do this? Why'd you pour so much in this? Why are you capturing all of this?
Well, this is a passion project for me. I love the process. I love the calling and securing an interview, and then packing my bags and my gear, and then heading out on a road trip. I love telling a story, and I especially love telling stories that people haven't heard before. So, once I establish a rapport with a lot of these players, they open up a bit more, and they would ask as many questions as I would. They're like, "Hey, is this place still open?" Or, "Do you know this person? He's from the Sioux." So it worked out really, really well, and I'm going to be proud of the final product. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing people matter, relationships matter, and I think that you made a connection with folks, and there's a connection yet to be made when you finally release this. So I'm looking forward to it. Is there anything that you'd want to leave us with today, or as we're kind of waiting for the final product, Sam?
I'm done most of my interviews, like I mentioned. There is a lot of hard work ahead. I have to obtain some more cool items to use as B-roll. I have a pretty healthy collection, but if anyone out there has some unique items that I may be able to photograph, please let me know. Also, there will be sponsorship opportunities in the future, so stay tuned. And again, plug for the website itself. It's a soft launch, but fans can check out houndpower50.com or follow me on Instagram at houndpower50.
Houndpower50 on Instagram. You got houndpower50.com. If you've got items or other stuff that that may be of interest for Sam, reach out to him. And if you can't get a hold of him, get a hold of me, and I'll get a hold of him. I'll be happy to do that, Sam. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this. This has been awesome reconnecting. It's been awesome talking about our hometown and the Greyhounds and this amazing project that you got on the go. So thanks for doing this.
Well, listen, next time you're in the stew, we'll have to go for another coffee.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, folks. This has been Sam Sestaro, documentarian and sports fan just like you, celebrating small hockey towns on the road to the big league with a must-watch and listen-to documentary that's going to be up and coming on Hound Power. I'll have all the links to the site in the podcast notes. Sammy, thanks for doing this. We'll check in with you in 2022.
Ciao, bello.
Ciao.